You
Going. It's saying we're live, so that means it's time for me to read out the following. You are listening to Let's Go, the weekly anime podcast about weekly anime from Dynamite in the Brain and Secret of the Sailor Madness. So come along and hang with the Let's Go gang. It's Dwayne.
Hello.
It's Niall.
How are you?
And it's me, Brian. And on this episode, we are covering anime. This is the thing I forgot to put in here. I'm going to turn my head slightly to read it off there. 31st of July to the 6th of August, with the exception of a couple of things. The first thing is Spriggan, episode 5, The Crystal Skull, in which this time it is Nazis.
Double check your stream there, because I saw the aspect ratio change.
Yeah, I saw the little Skypey logo come up for a second as well.
Yeah, I think that's just your Skype.
All right, fine. Just gotta get a little advertisement.
You do go on. Yes, that old favorite. It's only a matter of time. We got around to this. We're doing kind of a pulp, like action archaeology adventure. When do we get to the Nazi factory? What is this episode?
Like,
this installment.
When this came out, it probably would have been. It's a bit anachronistic to think that Nazis would still be around and a problem. But now that it's coming out in 2022, it's like, yeah, that is still a fucking problem. Maybe not guys who knew Hitler personally, or at least think that they do anyway, but who knows?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Fanboys. Fanboys, all of them.
That's true.
I went to double check, because I feel like that character is a Twilight Zone reference. I think there's a Twilight Zone with Dennis Hopper where he's speaking with the ghost of Hitler.
Okay.
Trying to get him to change his ways. Ooh.
No, very much not. No, the ghost of Hitler's like, you're going to be the next one of me. Which is the impression this guy's got as well. He's alive. Episode 4 of the 4th season of Twilight Zone. Tells of an American neo-Nazi who was visited by the ghost of Adolf Hitler. It came up on a podcast recently, and that's why it was in my mind. And when I watched this, I was like, "Oh, I bet they've seen that episode of Twilight Zone where they wrote it."
Yeah. I mean, they're of the kind of the parts and all that kind of shit. Twilight Zone is right up their fucking alley for like things that they would enjoy.
Yes. So they've stolen the crystal skull off a scientist who was working for Arkham, and you've got to go and get it back, but also the daughter of the scientist is trying to get it back. They end up working together.
I think he's initially sent there to like make sure she gets home.
Yes.
Like that seems to be part of his mission anyway, because she's next in line for being in danger. I guess they've already got the scientist, so I guess they would have like kidnapped her or something. So she's probably mostly in the clear, but she is getting tailed through Egyptian markets, so probably not entirely.
The Nazi has got on his side, he's got a guy who is turned into a super soldier. He's got a guy who is hired who loves to stab people. And he's got a guy who is hired called Mirage, who is a master martial artist and highly suspicious. Because
the most suspicious thing is he's in the opening. Yeah,
he's in the also, and then he helped you fight the guys at one point. So
yeah, he's a bit sus, but that's all right because he's got at least one other Nazi besides Nazi goons, which he has a bunch of as well. But yeah, he's ordered the knife dude to kill the professor and take the crystal skull, and it's not a power source, it's like a power amplifier. Like you pump a bunch of electricity into it and it's a laser, basically, I think. Roughly. Like it's a nuclear laser, I think is the other thing.
Nuclear laser, or they could use it as like a big explosion. No, because it's a good mention to get to go down there with the kind of characters. And
it is actually radioactive.
It was a skull, it was bad news. It's so cool though. Oh, but the warnings are right there.
It's Bo Brantz is the guy who's been turned into a super soldier.
What could he do?
Yeah, and he's there's like hints of him not being fully on board with.
I hate it when old anime and manga stuff they make me like Nazi characters because I like him because he's a fucking goober. I'm gonna run around you real fast. It's just like, but it's never worked out for you, bud.
He gets mad at the stabbing guy when the stabbing guy goes to kill the scientists.
Yeah, even
daughter
though they
later
promised
on.
to let her go, because he's an
No civilians.
yeah, he's an honorable Nazi. He believes in the honorable things of National Socialism. They're National Socialist something party.
Socialist nationalist or some weird fucking
They
oxymoron. Yeah.
changed one of the words and they rearranged it a little, but it's like they're Nazis. They're definitely Nazis. They keep talking about the Fuhrer, so you know, yeah.
Yeah,
They're nationally social and economically conservative.
yeah, and use like, oh, another far right terrorist organization. God, deal with one of these again. Yeah, so turns out that Mirage is not actually Mirage. She is a Boro, Yu's mentor and another member of Arkham.
Oh, like I don't like guess like like in our circles is well known. Isn't like he wears a mask and there's not meant to be dudes who like look like that and do this kind of kung fu where it's gotta touch you and like fun rupture your organs.
Yeah.
Like in our circles, fun. Like, so that could be like a thing, but these fucking neo-Nazis and they're fucking doing the whole thing of dealing with fucking like the ancient artifacts of mass destruction. Like, how would they not be aware of this, lad? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it's like the circles of the way he's known by the SAS by name, you, that kind of way, where it's just like, yeah, the big players in the traveling around the world and being a cool badass circles, basically.
Go 13 defense, it's fun to say, could have possibly no one could fucking emit their chi to this dude from that distance. Nobody could.
And the thing I actually enjoyed about this episode is it does a bunch of different like power plays, I guess like power levels as well, but mostly like use like, I'm here to rescue you, civilian, and you're in over your head. You can't get revenge for your father. But she's a school teacher, so she's constantly giving out to him because he's a child, which is like, that's a very good dynamic. So I'm glad that will continue because she takes up a job in his school at the end of the thing. But you have the different things where obviously Knife Guy's like, I could kill that guy easily. It's like, no, keep watching the footage. Like he takes out the fucking drone camera like very easily by throwing a gun at it. And the Knife Guy's like, shit, he threw a gun that far? Fuck. I'm in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting now seeing all of this kind of laid out, like that in the comic directly, like, and seeing like just what bits did have mashed in, because they obviously like expanded out and mashed in bits for the Noah's Ark one for the film.
Yeah.
But there was like a little shot and where he's like after like a thrilling chase scene, he beats up all the dudes. No, he just like throws like a knife like 50 miles and then it takes out at the camera that was watching him. So it's like, they just lift little shots from. Or little bits from other bits of the comic as well, just to flavor it up.
Our super soldier, roided out Nazi guy, he thinks he's stronger than everyone, but it's like, no, you're just like, you're stronger than Knife Guy. That's the only guy we've established you're better than.
Yeah. You don't know Kong.
He can run real fast though, round and round in a circle.
I saw us in a ninja movie once. Check it out. Oh yeah, I got one of those too. Shot.
So it ends up with Bo versus Aboro and Yu and Suzuko, the daughter, chasing after Captain Kutaimer, who has run off with the skull after his investors get threatened by Arkham.
That was a good bit actually, where he shows up in the presentation of the Crystal Skull. He's like, all right, I'm going to shoot your investors in the head, says Yu. It's just like, is it the skull or the investors? And he's like, I do believe in the Fuhrer is talking to me specifically as a ghost, but I do need the money. I do need the startup capital. That's difficult.
But those two are great. Like they're like fun clapping away. But this guy's crazy.
We need to get the fuck out of here, kind of thing. And then there's a guy behind you with a gun saying, I'm gonna shoot this guy. It's like, please don't. I wasn't gonna invest. Yeah, it's very fun.
Not the Stockholm. No.
Threaten where it hurts, like the money. Yeah.
Yeah, the investors are a little too surprised that this self-declared Nazi is a little crazier than perhaps they were thinking they could do business with.
They're probably just rich conservative pricks. They didn't think the guy was literally a Nazi looking for a Crystal Skull super weapon. we thought that was we thought we were just investing in this as a part of a fucking money laundering thing. You know how we do.
It's a lot like fun. Hold on, you're just putting a little bit of energy into this, just like increase it exponentially. That sounds like free energy. I don't know how I feel about this. One of those fucking like green policies that I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know about it. No. And the Nazi thing is fine, if anything, you're not Nazi enough. But this whole thing, no, I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
So Borrow,
Dirty oil and
yeah,
money.
they catch up with him, destroy vehicles, get the skull, and use like, we got the skull. I don't need to go and kill him. You don't need to get revenge that way. Borrow beats
We've blown up all
Bow.
the Nazis, and he's alone in the desert. It's fine.
Yes.
But Borrow's kind of like, no, I'm gonna
Yes.
punch that Nazi.
But before he's done that, he's let Bo live and told him to retrain himself.
You show, but he's very kung fu master. Is like, the reason I didn't kill you is you show potential. But if you wish to try and kill me again, come at me, give it a shot.
Good hustle, kid. Good hustle.
If you're not dependent on the drugs and you bulk down a little, you could be really good at kung fu. I'm just saying.
Looks like this guy will be back, Bo Brantz will, but yeah. Climber not, because the Borrow just goes up and it doesn't kill him outright. He just changes the key around his heart so it won't work properly, and he'll just slowly die in the desert.
Yeah.
He's pretty old. you've already done what else want to go.
Yeah, but it's kind of nasty that he's just gonna let him like struggle to breathe in a desert where no one's gonna help him.
But it's a deserving punishment for the man in question, I think.
Oh yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, fuck him all. When you shattered that guy's limbs and then threw him out a window.
Yes.
The nice boy.
I like the fact he never explained to the teacher that it's like, hey, that's the guy who killed your father at any stage. She just sees this crazy knife guy that wanted to stab her up get kicked through a fucking window, and she's like, fucking hell. But yeah, she seems to be over it, and she realizing the good her dad did, because basically her background was her dad left his family, including her, to work for Arkham, and she's like, fuck that guy. But it's kind of like, oh, he was trying to prevent this getting in the hands of literal fucking Nazis, and that's how he went out. Yeah, I would also like to help this organization. Also, they're going to pay me a shitload to be a teacher in used schools, so yeah, that works out.
Yeah,
much like the robot from before. This isn't the first one of these skulls that they've lost, so they know how bad it is.
Also, we learned the entire school is funded by Arkham. Not the entire skull. The entire school.
Yeah, I like some of the history stuff where this was the skull that Alexander the Great put in the lighthouse of Alexandria to protect it from crashing ships and shooting lasers at your enemies, is basically the two things it did. Just that kind of history thing on top of it. I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
There's a Greek fire for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or was it Archimedes? You had like a solar death ray.
Yeah, it had like a mirror thing. I only know about it from the Mythbusters episodes where they try and make it and come to the conclusion that it was probably just a drawing.
Probably a cool idea.
Or it was a crystal skull in a lighthouse. Have you considered this hypothesis?
And at the end, it's just a key ring on the used backpack at school.
Oh, because they're waiting to transfer it to their bunker, and it's like, it's in the safest place it could be as a charm on my school bag.
Yeah, don't get that thing close to any magnets or anything. This all could be surprising.
Then we've got possibly the horniest show we've ever talked about on this podcast.
God.
It's definitely the horniest, I think.
Heavy metal, dark fantasy, episode 6. Destiny. I've put Desting for some reason. I've mistyped it.
You got most of the letters, yeah.
Yeah, all but the last one.
Nesting in a voluptuous bosom.
Yes.
This show is too horny. It's so fucking horny. Like, I like it when it does horny and also comedy. This one didn't have enough comedy. It doesn't do it like last episode had more jokes, basically.
All the horniness is leading to a punchline. That's the point of this episode.
That's true. Yeah.
Look, think of it this way. It's just like 80s crossing over into the 90s. You're gonna have some gratuitous sex scenes. That's a practice that's kind of died out
in your OVAs and whatnot.
In filmmaking and music, and now it feels like very passionless.
Yes.
It feels very sterile. But this is like full fucking virile wizard man.
The punchline is
Dark Lord.
We get loads of that this episode, but it turns out no intercourse actually happened. And also that the sorceress who he's attempted to have intercourse thinks having her ear nibbles intercourse or has just fainted, passed out, and thought she had intercourse.
She had a
She was-
very nice dream. How about that? Basically,
Yes.
yeah.
She was climax right there. That's all she takes. Oh man.
Yeah,
She
because
played.
it's basically instead of actually going after him herself, the what's the dark elf one of the dark army?
Ashnay.
Arshasnay.
Arshasnay sends one of her 3 or 4 generals. I've
She's
forgotten.
got
She has a bunch of
3
sub generals.
Yeah, she's got her own sub generals,
Yeah,
who I
yeah.
assume are going to be all women because I assume the punchline at the end is that
Yeah.
he thinks a pretty boy has shown up to fight him, but I assume it's going to be a tough fighting woman as opposed to the sorceress he just fought.
So
There wasn't really much fight. He was essentially
he fought a spider.
Lars
once.
saying
He blew up all her spiders.
yeah, so he meets a woman being attacked by a spider. Lars is pointing out spiders are not normally in this part of the forest.
This is a forest. Spiders are. This is a giant cave spider. Yes. This is like it's in the. I looked up the fucking D&D manual. This is the wrong biome for this fucking creature. Like this doesn't seem right. Like Dark Schneider has basically, like at the end of the last episode, has basically snuck the fuck off and is not getting involved in any of the shit in Metallica or whatever the fuck they're called.
Yeah, we do get there is a very when they're talking about Gara betraying them, we do get a cutaway to a very seductive, naked Dark Schneider whispering in Gara's ear, and Gara sweating.
Come on, mate, you know you want it. You want some of this.
So yeah, he's just wandered off to not get involved in any of the invasion stuff, and he randomly come across a woman being attacked by a giant spider in the wrong biome in the woods. And the dragon's like, this seems super sus, and he's like, shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up. I'm in with a shot here.
Fine, going to this mansion and getting fed, and because the custom of the house that the eldest daughter must like give herself away to any like other visitors.
No, anyone who saves them or something like that.
Yeah.
Yes. So good thing he didn't save her grandpa, I guess. So
Lars points out this part of the country is controlled by the Dark Alliance or whatever they're called, and it's very highly suspicious that they haven't fled their home.
That they haven't fled their home, and they're just, they have all the servants living there. They can put up a slap-up meal. It's like all of this is very suspect. And Snarly's like, "Shut the fuck up! I'm in with a shot here."
And then he noticed as he's stripping her that, hang on a second, her tan lines look like she was wearing armor earlier. And
so she slaps a talisman on him, the same kind of one that came off of that spider he killed earlier. And it's like, haha, I've summoned a spider onto your back, and now he's going to eat you. Nothing you can do about it, Dark Schneider. I'm the master of talismans. And he's like, yeah, I've cast an illusion spell at the start of this scene. Everything else.
Before that, though, we see that he gets eaten. Because as he's watching...
He does get eaten.
She's watching him get eaten, and then he starts applauding the spell from the bed where he still is. And then he compliments her looks, and she instantly falls for him. And then nothing... It appears that things are happening. We even get the cutaway from the moaning to the melted candles was a sublime, disgusting touch.
That was good, and
Careless
also
whisper playing in the background.
I think that was before, it kind of cuts away to like the morning, and the dragon's kind of screaming. It's like, this is a shonen manga. We cannot go this far, which is funny.
He's got the voice actor. He's got a good ouchie when he gets smacked off
into the horizon several times. Yeah,
I went to look up who was doing the voice, and then in doing so, I was spoilt on the line, "If you didn't look in that form, I'd slice you up." That Dark Schneider says to Lars. So I do know what's going on there. But yes, the voice of Lars is excellent. The voice of Dark Schneider is excellent. And they kind of make this episode the byplay because it's D&D stuff of the stupid player falling for the DM's traps and the intelligent player going, "Are we sure you want to do this?" But having no power to stop the idiot from doing it.
Don't go in there, man. It's totally a trap. It's like fun. So someone watching the horror film and saying, "Come on, Dark Schneider, don't go into that room. He's waiting there with a knife. Don't do that."
Again, it's the horny nerds playing D&D, and they're kind of like, "But there's a chance I could get pretend sex. I gotta risk it. I gotta risk it." And it was
Think
for
of the
10-6.
lores to develop on
So,
it.
so yeah.
We learned that nothing happened.
The dragon's like, hey, you got some, Dark Schneider. Huh? You got some. You did a sex on her. And he's like, shut the fuck up. I got nothing. I got blue balls is what I got. Because he's like, as soon as I nibbled her ear, that was the casting of the illusion spell, and the rest of it was illusion. I'm not gonna like do anything to her while she's knocked the fuck out on an illusion. That's weird. I'm not a creep.
Yeah,
He's a creep.
Only a bastard would do that.
Aha!
I think that was the other. Yes, because let's not also forget this episode establishes that yes, he's a bit of a creep because apparently he found this
at the very
dark
least,
elf
his last
child,
incarnation was a creep. Yeah.
raised her for 100 years, and then decided after 100 years, hey, this child I've been raising, kind of hot.
And then went off and had a harem on the side as well.
Yes.
So yeah, definitely a creep. But this incarnation, as everyone keeps pointing out, a lot nicer than the last version.
Yeah. Yeah, because you occasionally see little bits of Lucian's personality, even with Yoko not around in this episode.
Yeah.
Also, he claims that he knew it was a trap all along, of which Lars is having none of that.
No.
But yeah, an incredibly horny episode of Bastard.
No, it's getting around where we're adapting things that were made like little decades ago. This is what the title of the damn. It's so gratuitous sex scenes we're in. They're in it everything.
It's just the difficulty of, is anyone watching you, and do you need to clear your browsing history afterwards? That kind of fucking thing. Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah,
I think watching it alternate weeks though gives it a different vibe because we're going to get episodes which aren't horny, and then it'll flip to an episode which is horny. I suspect if you watched it all in a long one binge, it would the whiplash wouldn't be there quite so much as like suddenly getting massively horny. But I do also like the fact that every character's horny in this.
Yeah, it's a very horny setting. Yeah.
Like I'm in like full on like like Conan mode with this. A lot of fun action and lots of fun dumb shit, but also like, oh yeah, it's gonna fucking just be hot chicks and chainmail bikinis and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So that's what you're in for. So that's just the way it's going to go to sometimes. Oh, but it doesn't like get too. But I'm just glad that he's like the good part of him is in there, so we're not seeing like the full bore of what a bastard could be. Like he toes the line, but he comes right back before it gets too much.
Then we got Fuuto PI episode 1. Beware of T / the man who loved a witch. And this is the anime adaptation of the manga sequel of Kamen Rider Double, in which we bring all our favourite characters back, but with new voices, except apparently the cat. The cat apparently has the same person who did the voice of the cat.
Well, I guess they were already voicing a cat, so yeah.
But the cat does not speak in this episode. He speaks in the next episode. He gets his own little short in the next episode. That's to look forward to.
Okay.
So I have to remind myself who all these characters are. We get this. The very first scene is the opening of Kamen Rider Double. That's the same scene you see at the start of Kamen Rider Double, which you can go and watch on YouTube on the Toei Tokusatsu channel because they've got the first 2 episodes subtitled. And then you're on your own. I guess you'll have to have become a fan of Kamen Rider Double by some other mysterious way. And they've also got an interview with the producer and the creator, which is quite interesting when they're talking about what they did for Kamen Rider Double. It was basically they looked at like what are the key things we think make up Kamen Rider and make sure to include the things we think are the key things which represent Kamen Rider.
Okay.
And put it in there.
Yeah. Well, the other a key part of this is that this is the manga was written by Riku Sancho, Dragon Quest Adventure of Dai. So that's somebody who was influential and now is being influential all over again in the sphere of tokusatsu and this kind of monsters and superhero storytelling.
So our main characters are the Narumi Detective Agency. We are introduced to Shotaro Hidari, one half of Kamen Rider Double, and briefly at the end we meet Philip. And then the other member of staff, their boss, is What is her name? Akiko Narumi. Yes.
Yeah, it's the name of the detective agency because she inherited
the-
it from her father.
Yes, who we see dying at the start of the episode.
You didn't keep like you didn't keep the hat. I didn't keep the hat.
Well, he can't steal your man's...
with his last like dying breath, he gave you that hat.
I think that's passing the torch, and it's like I can't wear the white detective fucking suit. That was your thing. I'm gonna wear a black detective suit because like I don't want to.
That's hard
I
going
can't
out.
remember. It's all addressed in the series. I think I've seen about half the series, so I don't know how it ends. So I don't know why. Because they mentioned that Akiko's married.
She's married to like a police detective, I think, isn't it?
I think the younger of the two cops that we meet in the middle of it, presumably.
I thought she might be married to Kamen Rider Axel, who I think's the other guy in the opening credits, the guy in the red biker leathers. So our main guy, he's obsessed with being hard-boiled. He wants everything to be hard-boiled. This is his vision of how he sees himself, and it's not the vision of how anybody else sees him. And Akiko will frequently hit him across the head with a green slipper in order to make this point.
Yeah, I love the fact that a green slipper has been labeled for the specific purpose of slapping him when he's fucking acting the maggot. And the opening is like, the windy city. Like I smell the wind and I hear its secrets and it's all this kind of thing. And he's down at the docks, not chasing a lead, trying to take cool detective pictures of himself on the phone, that's fucking great. That's a really good opening.
Guess the opportunity then. It's a sexy dame coming my way, trying to try some of my moves in her. It's like, hey there, lady, if you walk any further, that's gonna you're gonna shoot me right through the heart. As in, I'm gonna you're gonna walk. My hand's gonna walk into your tits. But like, oh, could you be the one to satisfy me? Like, I gotta go.
Like, whoa, I nearly picked up a prostitute. That was pretty close. Wait a minute, that's the end of the dock. Where the hell did she go? A mystery, I suppose.
But not quite what comes down to it's like, I'm gonna be a cool swamp motherfucker right here.
Immediately,
Nope.
But yeah, the reason he's leaving is he has to go back to the office because they got a case. There's a fella who basically has been mugged. He had his bag full of money he was transferring, presumably to a bank or something, very late at night for bad reasons. Stolen by exactly the same woman. But the reason he didn't go to the police is because he wants to meet this sexy lady again, rather than just get her arrested and get his money back.
She could run like the wind, and she vanished straight toward brick wall.
I did like the bit where Akiko's listing off the services they offer, and they're all cat related.
Missing cat, yep.
Yeah.
And even his line of it doesn't always have to be about cats. Sometimes it might be about finding sexy dames. Come on. Give me
cat shit left in your shoe. We'll find the culprit. It's probably a cat.
He goes and speaks to the man on the street, his informant, who's also in the in Kamen Rider Double. I can't remember his name.
Breaks his phone, chases the lady when she appears.
She runs into the sky, so he has to chase her down on a motorbike. So just in case, the opening hasn't turned into Kamen Rider, but like the rest of it he doesn't. But then it's like, the motorbike. Okay, yeah, that's your through line.
It was a good thing in a motorbike to look the exact same as the suit they eventually materialize together. It's a real happy coincidence.
And then I'm trying to remember what the rest of the runaround is.
It kind of chase on through, and it's just like, we've been chased into the weird part of town. This isn't the town I recognize.
Yeah, he knows every back alley, and she keeps leading him down streets that don't fucking exist and shit. And at one point, she loses him by he's in the middle of I presume, Yakuza fucking building, and they're like, they call the cops, and he's like, get this fucking guy out of here. It's like, oh, you're chasing that woman? Yeah, I actually would like you to catch her. Also, I would like the cops to catch her. So if you get through that, the cops are like,
she dismembered one of my boys.
The cops inform him of that, where it's just like, okay, that's another thing. And he kind of says to your man, is like, are you sure you want me to still get after this woman? Because she did probably kill a dude. And he's like, yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, well, I got some leads. No fixed abode, but it's still seems to be looking all right for a homeless person. where'd you go to like have a free shower or a bath if you're homeless? Where do you go to the fountain in the middle of the park? And there she is in the dawn light, reflecting over her. Oh, let's give her a chance to put her clothes on.
Yeah.
Come on, trying to woo this woman, aren't you?
So he's trying to the guy who hired him is kind of like, hey, you need to like give up this life of crime, presumably. But I don't think it's gonna take with her. Oh, also the woman who owns the detective office, she did put it that it's not unusual to come across magic powers in this town, or to become a witch in this town, I think is the way she puts it.
Yeah, they used to have a problem with.
Yeah.
You get a lot of monsters
Exactly.
coming this way.
Yes, people used to turn into monsters by plugging USB sticks into themselves. So
Yeah, and the Tokime, this mysterious woman, she got like, in a little like leg holster, something like that, some kind of like, device like that, and then whoops, they're in like this again the weird part of town you don't recognize where it's all glitchy and fucked up. Philip is here on the case because we the other half, the other part of Fuuto PI is Philip. He's just a partner. He usually stays in his bed reading his books like a giant nerd.
Yeah.
We need his giant nerd book smarts to get out of this jam.
Yeah, he only appears earlier in his bunk, basically, only interrupting because I really want to see you fall for this lady and get completely like fucking like I really want to swoop in and save your ass in this situation. It's gonna be really
like,
fun.
Man, like all the cliches are there, like the femme fatale, like you only encounter her on a mysterious night.
Dude, the detective agency is run out of what I can tell is a joint bar/billiard hall. I'm just like, oh fucking yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, and also Philip uses bulldog clips as barrettes to hold his hair back. Yes, and they appear together. Does he roll up on the... Okay, if he does roll up, we don't see what he rolls up on in this episode.
He kind of appears to block one of the laser cutting attacks that were presumably that guy was dismembered with. We don't see how he blocks it or anything. Yeah.
And then after the credits, we get a super deformed short where they're bullying him about hard-boiled eggs.
Find the egg, find the daddy.
Should mention that this looks... what this puts me in mind of is when you get somebody who really liked 80s and 90s OVAs and tries to make their own anime and post it to YouTube and goes and puts far more detail than you'd normally see in a TV anime. Well, this is the TV anime which actually has all that detail put into it.
Yep. Yeah, I chose the background from it because I really like it's the City of the Wind, so they have a bunch of windmills and stuff, and they're like, did you put lasers on all the fucking windmills just to show up better on a night sky? Yeah, we did.
It's cool.
It's just packed with detail. It's really quite nice. It's unnecessary, but I appreciate it.
It puts it in mind. It's a similar kind of origin story for us of like the Garo animated, particularly Garo Vanishing Line. That have like a similar kind of thing where it's like this is like a city, but it's like doing a lot of like it's. You get the impression that it is an anime that's watched things besides anime to inform its story, so it's bringing that in, and that's what the kind of vibe I can pick up on really quickly, and I like it.
Yeah.
I'll see, like, if I get too, I don't know, my depth when you type some kind of base kind of writer fucking W knowledge to kind of get me through this.
That's the worry.
But I'm interested. I mean, like, that one, that opening, like, like thing, which is like the start of the Tokusatsu series, is like, that looks fucking sweet. It fucking like went all out. Now it's been fun flipping dudes, punching the shit out of them.
Well, the floor's collapsing the whole time. Yeah, really well done.
Yeah.
And they make a different ratio as if to indicate this is from a different thing than the thing you're about to be watching. But yeah, I do believe next week they will turn into a Kamen Rider double. So it's not just going to be them detecting things.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I'm good. I'm all with this. I know enough about Dragon Quest as able to kind of hop on with that. And it's just like, oh yeah, well, Ricky Sancho, they know what they're doing with this. So I foresee or expect at least a little bit like a similar sort of experience here, where you don't need to have like if you just kind of know about what kind of world it is, it's Kamen Rider, then you'll probably be all right. It's just like it's like my spin in it, my kind of thing I'm doing with it.
Yeah, I think one of the points they made is what they wanted was from Double was that it would all take place in one town, which this had, and the other thing was that that Kamen Rider should have been part of the enemy organization and betrayed them. So in the original, Philip is the son of the family who are the villains.
Okay.
I don't know whether that's going to play into this, but Mick the cat, who will show up next week, was the cat of the family of the villains.
Even the cat betrayed us.
But at the end of the, I believe at the end of the series, he had moved into the detective agency, and he will show up next week and also in the credits. So I think the music we get this week in the end credits is the end credit music.
Okay.
But it has a proper ending in episode 2 with dancing and everything. Exactly.
It's pretty jazzy, so I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, it definitely made me want to see a dance off between this and The Vampire Dies in No Time. Because it is quite similar in a jazzy tune and men dancing together. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It looks, say, between this and what Cyberpunk Edge Runners looks like, it does look like we're going to have a few series which are going to be weirdly hyper detailed.
Yeah, if you enjoy things that want to do their own version of Blade Runner, you're in a lot of luck lately. Yeah.
Yeah, even like Akudama Drive for my kind of chagrin, I just like it fucking falling for all of that thing all over again. I did pull some fights and some that, and it is pretty good. So you know, if I gave it some time, I would be able to appreciate it more or see it do more of its own style of things, independent of the setup.
Then it is Yurei Deco, episode 5, On the Trail of a Liar, in which our Ghost Detective Agency are asked to edit the Wikipedia. What's it called? Neopedia or Decopedia?
Decopedia.
Yeah. Exactly the wrong thing.
The entry,
which is a lot harder to do when you're off the grid.
The entry for the Nue, because the guy at the zoo, he has a Nue and it doesn't look anything like what's on Wikipedia. And then it becomes
like I love that they never mention his rundown zoo that has the constantly glitching out background in several bits. It's like this. That's how they show it's a rundown zoo. Because other than that, the holograms are working perfectly fine in his zoo.
They got a sweet
of 100% real animals, and I need you to update the Nue thing because look at my fucking photorealistic real Nue animal, and it doesn't match the Wikipedia entry.
So it's very much more cute and mascotable and merchandisable in the Wikipedia entry. But that's cute, no, but it's not scientifically accurate. I only do scientifically accurate truths.
Yeah, so it becomes then a treatise, I guess, on both truth and lies, but also on how myths, because essentially they end up making a different Nue by accident, and that one becomes more popular than either of the Nues which were previously in existence. And then
so that becomes the mimetic idea of it spreading, and then the idea of that meme dying down. But then that's still the one people remember. Oh yeah, I remember that when that Nue craze was on.
Yeah. And then the TripAdvisor reviews roll in and saying this fucking Nue is shit. It's a load of bollocks.
And then they discover from a real book that the old lady borrowed from a friend. And this is where, so all through this episode, Hack's been obsessed with smelling the butts of the zoo animals.
He's been the most animal-like of anything else,
He's been disappointed that they don't smell. And also when they go to Hack, Hack wants to go, doesn't want Berry to go, but when they get there, he wants Berry to do all the work because he gets bored almost instantaneously of trying to find the data.
Because it's like, okay, talk to the scientist, get the details on the case, and Hack's just like, I'm just going to sniff these holographic animals to see if any of them stink like an animal. Yeah. That's all I'm here for.
So he's happy when they get the book because he can smell the book. It smells of all.
I get that. There's some art books I have where you just put your whole face in there and it's all.
You can smell the printing process. It's lovely.
Smell the benzene.
Yeah. And then they point out that it doesn't smell as strong as he does anyway. So that's one mark against him being a robot. but there's
Hmm.
plenty of other things which feel like might be foreshadowing that some people are going to be turned out to be robots in this
I have
episode.
fun,
Yeah.
just this very episode as well, because you can have a very articulated animatronic robot with a very convincing hologram laid over it,
Yes.
and
Yeah, because the new way with its little ooh kind of fucking noise, like it's very cute, but when the professor decides, it's like, well, your crappy UA new way that you made has taken precedence, so I need to delete this.
Well, no, he
And
has to delete it when he's told that it's a lie, but he knew it was a lie already.
Yeah.
But now now
yeah,
people know that he knows it's a lie. He's got to feel like he's got to uphold the truth.
he's got to uphold his principles. So like when he deletes it, it's like it's kind of horrible. It's like, no, it's an animal dying, but then it's like a kind of boxy robot, much like the dog robot that just falls down to the ground, turned off.
I feel like before the end of the series, we're going to see one of the human characters sitting in a similar position.
We already saw it with the lawyer.
Degaussing ring.
Yes.
Yeah.
We saw it
Oh
with
no, one of the ones we know is what I'm thinking.
Oh, one of the
Yes.
name characters. Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, for one thing, I was thinking that grandma that appears on the robot's screen, I was like, are you even real? I'm not 100% sure, because we only ever see her through the screen.
She's like taking she's messing around with stuff, like she kind of moves something towards it. I think like there's something come across her there. Like she just kind of puts it on and wants I can visit from. I'm actually in my room. I'm actually trying to like rummage around and get things. I'm definitely a real person in a real habitable space.
And totally not some sort of VTuber grandma. Yeah, sure. I don't believe it entirely. I can't believe it.
I was from this one. I was thinking, oh, she's more likely to be real than the ones we're actually seeing.
Than the one standing in the room. Yes. Yeah, I guess that's true as well.
It's because of like, oh, I've got this real book I got from a friend, and she's got loads of secrets she's not telling the rest of it.
Yeah.
Mr. Gordon, I've no idea. They talk about him. He's like, he's not an animal. He doesn't say anything. He's just a giant man with a cat's head.
Yeah.
He hasn't done or said anything, so who knows?
Yeah. There's some discussion here about invasion of privacy.
Yeah, that's true.
Barry had a look while she was on her last track about like fucking Hack's personal records there. And it's just like, no, yeah, well, sure, we're both there. Well, it wouldn't matter. But I'm saying, so that isn't the fucking point. You fucking looking at shit without me fucking asking to. Maybe like, what the privacy, motherfucker? What's up with that?
Yeah, like Hack takes that really fucking personal. Even though, like she said, it's kind of like there wasn't anything there. There was nothing on file for you besides is dead.
It's the principle of the thing, and that's probably as well where Barry's coming from. You kind of raised in this sort of society, your own privacy is something you probably don't think about as much.
You expect the moderators to go through your fucking private things anyway, so it's not something she really thinks about.
Yeah. You should probably go apologize. You know, if it was pretty kind of fucked up thing you did there, like no, it really hurt her feelings. It's like, oh, it's okay. Got you back up to you if you're going to school. If you get some fucking bad tests, look at this poem. Oh, woof.
Yeah. So they kind of bond over that. There's some nice bonding moments because obviously on the job of researching the case and everything, it's like Hack is not fucking interested in doing the people talking stuff. No interest in that. But when they're actually in Wikipedia and going through the library, they actually have to manually look for it, which is way more difficult than using the search bar because they can just be found that way. Like they have a lot of fun. There's a fun couple of chase sequences and that. And they have fun together. Also, accidentally creating a real crappy new way. And they're like, no, it's more like this, and they're editing the article basically into something very silly.
Yeah, it's not kind of like one like war in search of the truth, but we're okay with a lie as long as it's an entertaining lie, which is what a lot of kind of myths and legends are. But I'm saying, this isn't true, but like you shouldn't. There's like the human imagination is going to kind of run wild with things, and should we be stifling that and kind of always coming in and saying, well, actually, the animal couldn't possibly have existed in that fossil record. So it should actually be called Cretaceous Park. I'm from a time from dinosaurs from different fossils in the same thing. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Do you want to be that person all the time for your whole life? I don't know. It'll be a lot more boring otherwise.
And it's kind of interesting. It's like you're kind of wondering the professor or the zoo director, what's his stake in this? I guess he was really proud of his creation of what a realistic Niue would look like, even though it was never a real thing. Like even the snake tail is as expressive as the lion face, or the monkey face, I should say.
And even after the fact that he's using kind of he's kind of that bit of him kind of like crushed a bit. It's still his imagination. He wants to kind of to experience this and wants to explore that. It's not stifled because now Anyway, another yokai probably out. Loch Ness Monster Sasquatch. Now that could be something. Because I got these fucking magazines. These are scientifically like checked and got eyewitness accounts in here. It's got like they're
like an UMA magazine, basically.
Legally distinct Moo magazine covers there.
Yeah. And it's nice. Like it's some idea of like someone trying to recreate a past that never fucking existed. That kind of thing. It's definitely feeding. I'm feeling the edges of themes, but there's nothing solid there yet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not to give this fucker too much credit now, and it was just like, you know, the kind of way the sentiment was fine. The way he phrased it was kind of where it's like, I think at one point Josh Whedon, the film director and comic nerd, now like outed fucking abuser and everything like that. Is that the stories that we're kind of making right now could, they have the rest of the people and some shit they become like, the stories that people tell each other like, decades, centuries from now. Like, and that's kind of it. That's what like all your Greek like legends were. Like one saying, oh, Achilles, fucking total badass. He was like that fucking like Superman of his time. Or at least I don't know, the Shazam of this. So this kind of things are happening to us now, and the art is being made in response to things that are happening to us around the world, and kind of carries going forward. The kind of legend to kind of getting told, passed on. I'm just like this idea of it gets passed on, like
Yeah.
I think it's something like fucking as much as let's say One Piece as influenced by so many things that came before it and are fed into it, but then after the fact, how many things is that going to like be cropped up in? The thread of that is going to continue on forever, as long as people imagine this and talk about it and wonder after it.
We may have already been past that bit of things being influenced or being made to be influenced by One Piece. I think.
There's definitely things that have been influenced by One Piece that now have influenced other things for sure. Yeah.
I can believe it. Yeah.
We're now into please make your comic more like Demon Slayer.
Yeah.
We're in that period of time.
Make it more like Hell's Paradise, which I finished there just over the weekend. I think it's more kind of cinematically consistent Demon Slayer in my book.
Well. Yeah, unfortunately for Hell's Paradise, in everybody else's book, it was Demon Slayer. But
just because you got tits in it, again, this is like this agenda to hide tits from us. Bastard is showing us, this wasn't the way it always was. It's an agenda. It's a conspiracy against us to deny us tits in all our comics and cartoons.
Anyway, somehow they're animating a series of that as well. So. But before we get to that, something not animated by Mappa is Uncle from Another World, episode 3. I'm your aunt, dear. In which the first part is the terms and conditions of YouTube have changed. What are we going to do?
2018. Which is like I was explaining this to my freaking partner. It's like I'm watching an anime and it's just recently turned into 2018, and the characters, the major plot thing is they have to figure out how to increase subscribers because the terms and conditions of YouTube have changed. I'm like, what the fuck is my life? How is this a show? It's great. I love it.
Yes, they're like, you have a job. We either got to get 4,000 hours of views or 1,000 subscribers in order to be able to monetize. And
this reminds me of a story when I was like in the fantasy world and I was in the Steel City of
But first, like the initial reason of why they're not getting more subscribers is immediately apparent when it's like, oh, we got a comment. It's like, really cool CGI, and he's like, actually, it's not CGI. Check your facts and all this kind of fucking thing. The uncle's coming in with this. It's like, actually, let me just fucking correct you here.
Yeah,
he's being one of those dudes.
Huge comment with my fucking netiquette, fucking like really putting you down kind of thing. It's like, you're not gonna get subscribers that way, Uncle. You're gonna put everyone fucking off.
Then we get the Attack on Titan parody.
Yeah. Which that would have been like gotten quite big by that year, so we got to address that.
And the whole thing of it's like, oh, it's a magic city that has a barrier over it, so the monsters can't get in, and the uncle like destroys the barrier. Is like, I just want to see if I could, which is a very child playing a video game kind of fucking logic. Yeah,
put it back. Jeez.
And the people who were suspicious of him before, kind of like, is that guy a fucking orc? And it's like, no, he just looks like an orc. He couldn't have got past the magic barrier otherwise. And it's like, how did the monsters break the magical barrier temporarily? It's like, it's almost like they had an infiltrator. All of them look at the ugliest man in town. Yeah.
No, it was pretty old. No, maybe we should take better care of it. Yeah, you're right. It's true.
The elf
and the tsundere elf girl was there as well. It's like, fun. Okay, it gets up to me. Cool magic sword. This kind of splits open. It's got a laser, but it's big little goes over top of it. I just gotta fly off and then.
The uncle resummoned by talking to the barrier spirits and apologizing.
Yes.
For breaking.
And then she offers to take him for a meal. At which point he then legs it as explaining, well,
skips town.
No, he legs it because she says it's like, all right, you owe me one. I tell you what, buy me dinner, we'll call it even. And he's like, I can't live for this kind of extortion. They'll fucking never let you fucking down if you let them through once.
Nephew, I've got one advice. I don't have one is still want to be hounding you. Like, don't let them in or don't fucking bow to their fucking demands.
Yeah, and the nephew's just like, fucking dude, oh my god. How are you this dumb?
It's okay. Just put in. Just be less combative. Just put fun. Okay, folks. Like, subscribe. Give us a share. Try and if you enjoyed the channel.
Like he sincerely opens up to them and asks them, "Is like, hey guys, the terms and conditions change. Can you help a brother out?" And he's like, you can't reveal your fucking weakness on social media like that, uncle. And then everyone's like, yeah, no bother. Yeah, I can hit you a subscribe, easy. Yes. And he's like, I guess I'm the cynic now, whereas I called my uncle a cynic a minute ago.
Yeah. Been so blind.
Yeah.
And the second half is the uncle's trying to give advice to the would-be girlfriend, but she won't listen to him because of the way he looks. So he turns himself into the elf, pretends to be the aunt.
The only other woman he knows.
Yeah.
No, he knows the frost woman from the previous episode. And managed to successfully offer some advice because it's now being given by an attractive elf woman.
Come on, we're gonna have some girl talk, and the nephew's kind of like, it opens on the episode of him coming across the uncle in disguise as the elf woman and going like, what the fuck? And it's like, let's catch you up to how we got here. But he's kind of like, uncle is like, no, I'm your aunt. Shut up. I'm trying to give her advice so she will like you. And I admit her feelings, but you can't say any of that, obviously.
But the punchline of looking at the memories, the punchline of looking at the memories was so good because that explains why he's not into her. Because
I wasn't like that. No, I was at the girl next door. We were all kind of
and I was always like
joshing you because you were a nerd, but I kind of liked it. But it was just
I kind of glomming onto you, going like, I'm teasing you and shit.
No, you were putting dog shit on a stick and waving it in front of me. Like, no, that
just
was
like the nastiest, ugliest, like shit child. It's just like, shit on a stick. How do you like that? And it's like, where am
like that, do I?
Where am I in this scene? It's like, that's you. That shitty kid. Yeah, that's you right there. It's like, and the uncle's kind of like, I can't help you. That's like, I mean, you've soured the well from the beginning.
Anyways, we gotta do a Guardian Hero stream right now. Have fun. I haven't got time to change. Let's just go for it. And then it's like, nephew, you fucked up the stream. The camera wasn't even pointed at fun. Didn't capture the fucking game screen. It was just fucking me in a room. Fun. I was wondering that from the skies now. So thankfully no one knows it was me. All up like still this fun thing. But uncle, this is the most views you've ever gotten in your life. One say, what? The most views? Yeah, I found guess this.
The VR avatar of a cute elf girl is doing them numbers on YouTube. So yeah,
just like you're rolling around, playing Guardian Heroes. Got like. I'm very impressed that like Sega is like being very a really good sport in giving all the fun. It's got all the original music in there. It's great.
That's one of the ways he identifies the uncle. Actually, he mispronounces tails in order to get the uncle to recite Sonic facts at him. But yeah, the uncle is wearing the standard like sweatshirt, but now it's an elf lady wearing the sweatshirt because she's smaller than him. The pants fell off her, so it's just a sexy elf lady wearing a sweatshirt playing Guardian Heroes, and obviously that does great numbers on YouTube. But as the uncle said earlier, it's a dangerous magic because if you inhabit the body too long, you'll start thinking like the person. And he's like, oh, wait, did she in the body that I'm in like me? Oh, I probably should have figured that out. Whoops.
Yes, because he was suddenly like, he suddenly when he's watching the video as well, it's like the connection is suddenly formed. Oh, this
Kind of
situation
clicks,
with
yeah.
these two is similar to the situation with me and that elf.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. But also, Fujimiya notices that the trousers are falling down, and then seemingly just denies that meaning that this is the uncle until the face melts off. All the clues, and it takes the.
She doesn't want to believe any of the shit. When he pulls a hologram out of his nephew's brain to show him like the past and stuff, she's like, "Oh, is this like a fucking holographic thing?" And nephew's like, "Yeah, it's this old Sony flip phone can produce holograms." She's like, "Wow, fucking, what'll they think of next, huh?" She's denying any magical shenanigans, basically.
I really had to give up that. Like, it was a very good, just like the facial fucking like transformations of the fucking Wolfman.
Yeah. Like the uncle's trying very hard to set his nephew up. It's like, hey nephew, I mean, you could, hey, like girl, you could stay here in this place. I mean, like there's a second fucking room, you know. I mean, it's not a bother for me. And the nephew's kind of like, his room's is a 2-bedroom room, you know. And he's saying to uncle is like, I don't know, uncle, fucking like I wouldn't want you sleeping on the floor next to me. I don't think there's enough room for the two of us.
I don't want 2 dudes in my room.
And it's like, oh my god, get the fuck.
Yeah, yes, it's that he's in the nephew is in the same position he's in, and only now has he realised the position he was in when he was in the fantasy world. But the fact that all 3 of them get to look stupid is fun as well.
They're all like the same kind of inept in a bunch of the same ways. So it's kind of like the uncle's like, don't make the mistakes I did in the past, but he doesn't even realize he's doing that half the time.
Yeah. Then it is Chimimo, episode 5, A Hellish Scheme, and Dead the HELLSPAWN. What is the hellish scheme? Well, the hellish scheme is May, the youngest sister. She lets a little bit of barley tea stay in the bottle so she doesn't have to make the next batch.
I didn't know she was such a...
Because
he's going through the sisters. Like, one of them is just like, oh, she seems nice and sweet, but she's violent as fuck. And it's like the second oldest.
She's the crusher.
She's coming home drunk every fucking night. And she's like, hey, I'm going to charge you for imagining me. Because that's slander. In his imagination of her. And the youngest one is like, she's actually the mastermind. She controls the older sisters. Like, walking up to the middle sister and going like, hey, can I have money to meet up with my friends? And that miser gives her money. She's the real brain.
She's got my minions, my HELLSPAWN millions, my Chimimo is looking to do her bidding for it. I can't get her to do shit for me. And if I'm just like bringing her, I'm bringing her up on my porn book. I mean, my historical like facts book about the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
I dude, no, they're planning a surprise birthday party for you. I know the earliest year.
Yeah.
You know, all the kind of mushroom in the corner. You know, while you're out hanging and watching the kind of mushroom in the corner. We've got planned for his birthday. We've got to do a surprise birthday. Yeah. Cool. When is his birthday anyway? I don't know. Let's go for like the most evil sounding day we can get on the calendar in this couple of weeks.
We got a Friday the 13th coming up with an unlucky number attached to it as well. So it's like, yeah, that'll do. He says he doesn't remember, so let's just pick a date and make it his birthday. So yeah, he kind of feels a little bad about it, but he's excited about having a birthday party. But he's also like, okay, how am I going to react? You know, it's like, whoa, you know, that's too extreme.
Yes. Oh, before this though, he's attempted to turn May into a half human, half barley tea creature using
as punishment.
eyes.
Yeah.
But the other Chimimos save her, and he ends up being turned into such a creature, which involves having a tap instead of a nose, which barley tea pours out of.
He's like, let me
and May's like, I don't want your nose tea.
Yeah.
Fine, geez, I made the fucking thing. God, I'm not touching that.
Because he's too embarrassed to admit how he ended up in this thing. He's like, yeah, that happens to me sometimes. Don't worry about it. And they're just like, how can that just happen? All right, fine. But he's just not allowed to make the barley tea anymore.
We got this party though. It's gonna be a costume party because that's what we did last time. You know, like let's give it a kind of theme. You know, fun. I'm gonna be a zombie. Zombies aren't gonna be in hell. You know, fun. That implies like we're sitting on the screen plate. It's all making you up. You're just going sexy devil, I suppose. Right? Yeah. Classic. You know, I look good, and so why not? Utsumi comes out. Look at me. I'm a giant, like
I think she's queen of Queen of the Ant Lion.
Queen of Ant
Ant
Hell.
Hell.
Yes,
That was
so
it.
she'd
Yeah.
be the
Yeah,
thing
but-
which would be in charge of Ant Hell if an Ant
Yeah, an Ant
Hell
Lion.
existed.
Mm.
Okay, that's an esoteric pick there. That's pretty good. You thought about your costume. That's all right.
Mm.
So they have the
as he's
party.
coming home,
And then
yeah,
another Chimimo shows up.
yeah. Who's this one? It's like I call him Dead because he looks like he had his head severed and reattached. And he's like,
Okay, that's
oh,
one.
that's the Anaki's one. That's the boss's one. Come to fucking check in on me. So he's having to be excited about his
Performance
birthday party.
review on your birthday.
Yeah, fucking ruin his total birthday. So he has to keep turning around for everything on the birthday, and be excited about his birthday, but then go, actually, what they mean by this, right, is it's part of our. These are three evil witches. I've convinced to work in my scheme.
He's making them out that they're like tokusatsu generals that he's.
I mean, they're dressed like it now, so that's
exactly,
working out for him. Yeah.
Behold, we brought you out the pinata. Yes, this is where the torture's going to inflict upon the humans. Say that. Yeah, we're going to bust them right open and get the sweets out of them. Yeah, that's that'll
And
show
even when they
'em.
bust open the crackers, they're like, birdie crackers. Nom, nom, nom. It's like, fucking die, birdie cracker. And the Chimimo are crying as they have to smash their crackers.
I think my favorite bit with Dead is when they cut in the birthday cake, and they realize they need to offer Dead a portion, so they cut a slice off for him, and then he takes the bigger portion, and then he takes the smaller one as well.
He's a real dick.
You are evil.
You can't read him at all because he doesn't. I don't think he ever makes any kind of squeaky noise like the rest of them.
It makes you realize how expressive the other ones are by having this one show up who isn't expressive.
He's barely fucking. He's moving enough to eat all the fucking sweets and drink all of his snake wine and that kind of shit.
But he does have Mr. Tickle arms. He constantly is making them.
He does
longer than the others tend to.
But May has written a wonderful little letter to him, I'm saying. And this is also worse if we're kind of hammering home. Yeah, this is like 99.9% about the immigrant experience. You know what I'm saying. You come here so long, and you got your own cousins with your daughters. It feels like we're really ingratiated into each other's company really quickly. It feels like we've all been part of the family. So we're really glad you came by and you came to stay with us. He's just so touched by that. It's like, oh yeah.
Like initially I thought like a poem.
Yeah.
That's a crappy present, but then she kind of ends up with it's like, if I had a father figure in my life, I'd like him to be as fun as you. And I was just like, it's genuinely sweet. He's like, I can't really sell this as evil, though. It turns to the Dead, the HELLSPAWN, and Dead's fucking passed out drunk. It's like, okay, we're fine, we're good. Whew.
Yes, he's drunk too much snake wine.
That
was one of the presents. Then they send him back with a bottle of snake wine, and oh, thank goodness. Hopefully that'll keep me in my job a little bit longer.
Dear.
Did he got to pay for his own birthday party?
I think it was mostly the fact that it was also a progress review and a birthday party at the same time. I think was the problem that he had to face.
Yeah, it was a nice sentiment. Now it was good to see it. Like it is kind of being laid out a bit more explicitly.
Yeah.
Like fun. Yeah, there's no other way you can honestly read that really. Because it could be about somebody else coming into a family, but it seems to express one saying, well, we kept our way of doing things here, and you've adapted to it very, very well.
Yeah.
Which could be as well fun saying, no, you foreigners, you should all just adapt to our way. Like it's the best.
Yeah, but, she's kind of impressed that
she's
impressed that he kind of lives so confidently despite being from such a different background and not adapting to their way of life.
Yeah, I suppose that's more so it. Like you're not letting this kind of phase you. You are like a fish out of water, but you're getting along just fine, and you're still doing it in your own.
I mean, it's still about kind of a little bit of found family or adding someone who's not directly related to your family, that kind of thing. But yeah, it's that as well. Sure.
Yeah, it's unfortunate need to hear a little bit about that. As much. Well,
something following you?
Fell on somebody in the hallway. Oh gosh. It'd be hell to pay.
Then we got I'm Kodama Kawashiri, episode 23, Taking Home Delivery Pizza, in which Kodama Kawashiri attempts to take home delivery pizza, but orders it from the wrong pizza shop.
There's a new pizza shop, and she has the timing just right to get to it on a bike, pick up her pizza, get the discount for picking it up yourself, also get a drink on the way. It's fucking perfect. But she rings up the first flyer that comes through her fucking door.
I assume the joke is these delivery flyers tend to all look very much the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, it's all Italian flag. It's all
Yeah.
Italian flag. I get nothing come through my letterbox that like there's all Italian flag thing. They all and they all like trying to kind of rip off maybe like a more well-known like pizza franchise. But
They're
it's
all
just like
kind of
not
like, yeah,
pizza Pizza Hut. It's
Pizza
like
Hut.
the Hut. No, the Hat. Okay,
Yeah.
that's there we go.
Don't have that. We do have USA fried chicken though. That's the
Mm.
Why does Kentucky? Why can't it be the whole
yeah.
US?
Oh fuck, Niall, I was
bigger.
going downtown the other day and I saw a bunch of American tourists, and one was like, "Oh my god, you guys, we tried the amazing KFC down the road." And I was like, "Motherfucker, that's hillbillies. Do not fucking confuse the two. They use the Colonel's original recipe, and I know this. So fuck off from that
Allegedly.
shit."
Yes.
Allegedly.
different from KFC's, better than KFC's.
Yeah.
At least it doesn't cook it better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like how she use strategy as well. That I know those trips. You know, one thing. Well, I gotta go out and get one thing. However, if I take a certain route, that will get me a Vietnamese sandwich and a Korean fucking like a soft drink. If I just like go along
On
that
the
route. So
specific
if I
route,
gotta
yeah.
go down and pick up this parcel, I may as well get lunch and I may as well get a beverage. So I just keep it all. I put a return leg. You know, you got to keep it all efficient.
It's good to plan for efficiency of grabbing a bunch of deliciousness, but do double check you're ringing the right fucking place, basically.
Yes. So
Yeah,
you're not having
that's the key.
Not having to cycle 2 train stations away as she has to at the end of this episode.
And your pizza's not going to be as warm and nice by the time you get home. Yeah, that's no good.
Oh, she eats it cold. She heats it up. She knows to treat it by heat in the microwave with a little bit of like
A little thing of water,
damp,
yeah.
kitchen paper or a bit of water, yeah, and it gets it right back up. The pro. After all.
Then we've got Dragon Quest: The Adventure of Dai, episode 89, The Shadow Raiment, an episode that isn't really about the Shadow Raiment in the
No,
slightest.
it is. It's not. It's mislabeled. It is the secret spell of frozen
Okay.
time.
Okay, yeah. Because
It's
that's
got-
what I had written down. I was like,
Okay.
oh, did I not update it? Yeah.
Crunchyroll are lying to us, are they? Okay, that would be why.
Yeah.
Bridges, man, false as shit.
Yes, they definitely has slacked off on the metadata. Let's put it that way. Let's talk in the technical terms that I speak of at work. Yeah, so it is a big chunk of how does he know the spell? This is why he knows the spell. Let's have a lengthy flashback of when Avon was the hero. And he was fighting Hadlar 17 years ago, and he refused to let his allies come because they knew they were in love, and one of them's pregnant. At which point you're going, which one of the characters is that child? Let's eliminate them all.
I thought Ma'am knew all this. It's like some big surprise to her, or some kind of surprise to her. I thought she was aware of all this
I
shit.
think she wasn't aware of some of the circumstances, like that. Basically, her being conceived like split the party kind of thing.
Yes.
Wasn't aware of that specific thing.
Broke up the band.
Yeah.
So the two old men who have no family will go with Avon to fight Hadlar and to help him.
Wouldn't you know there was a magician and a monk in the party all this fucking time. We've never mentioned the monk before because he's constantly like, oh, my back. Oh, I'm going to die at any stage. Like he still does to this very fucking day. He still says, I'm going to die. I'm just going to drop over dead at any stage. It's like, you're going to fucking outlive everyone due to healthy living, basically.
Short bursts only. Short bursts. You know, he's a sprinter, not a marathon.
Yeah, that's the thing missing in a lot of recent Final Fantasies is just the random old guy.
Well, it's got a sexy young guy, you know, and as old as it gets, fun. There's the kind of the old kind of grizzled. He's got a bit of fucking 5 o'clock shadow, smokes fucking cigarettes. He's 23 years old. Holy shit.
Yeah, very much so.
I assume it was consistent in Dragon Quest, this thing, because it's definitely in Dragon Quest 11 that there's an old guy, and then there's, I guess, probably a middle-aged guy as well. Yeah, so he's going to cast his spell. It's going to freeze Hadlar in time. It'll put him in stasis. That will give us peace, but it goes slightly wrong, and they both ended up in stasis, and it only gives them peace for a year.
The reason he didn't let the lads come because it's like this spell is very powerful, so it might backfire, and it does, and it freezes both of them for a year.
Yes, but this is how.
It's still for a year. I wonder what kind of stage this guy was, because I thought like there was like a bit. Oh yeah, and I guess at some point later he did defeat him outright, and there was
because he mentions that he hasn't perfected his Avon Strash yet. He mentions that in this episode. So that's not.
And that's the thing. He finishes
backwards. Oh.
Yeah. So like it basically makes a year of peace because all the monsters scatter and all that kind of jazz. And it was like it was on a schedule as well because you could only cast the spell like during a solar eclipse.
That's it, yeah.
So, but I assume the same solar eclipse comes around and unlocks it or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was like once in a century solar
2 in a
eclipse,
year,
so I don't know how
or
Oh, okay,
every
yeah,
year?
yeah. Some other cosmological event, I guess.
or
yeah,
the spell just wore off.
That too. Yeah.
That could also be.
Whatever as long as you need the spell to be for plot reasons. Yeah.
Yes. So Brikida's figured out that, hey, Mistfern is somehow using that spell, but also moving around.
So he's cast it on himself, so he doesn't age and is technically invulnerable, like with the what's that spell that turns you into like stone?
Clang.
Clang. But he has Clang on himself, so he's like immutable, unchangeable, but also he can move. So that's doubly bad because that means you can't actually put any injury on him because he's stuck in that form.
Except from a draw. Because that's what after this incident is what made Matter of devise this spell, where it's like, well, I will just make a spell that just like annihilates all matter within its range.
Presumably, the plan was he would have that spell developed while the evil lord was still frozen, and then shoot it at him while he's frozen. Just cheap him out. Yeah.
It annihilates matter anywhere, any when. It's just gone.
Yeah.
It's gone for good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind.
Pop's got to cast this spell, but Pop's like, this is normally my role in this story. I'm not the one who everyone relies on to finish.
Generally, I run in, get my ass kicked, and then like some more badass guy, like your boy over there, like kind of comes in and saves the day. Right? I'm not the guy who was relied on to save the day. I'm feeling a lot of fucking pressure, basically. Yeah.
But he manages to get it off, and it seems to almost work. And he even saves Brakida from a fate worse than death after Mr. grabs hold of him and uses a human shield, because he manages to outrun it using Zoom, grab him, and escape.
Yeah. The real kind of still standoff there, because he's fun resolve his kind of stuff. It's like, he's got a hostage fun saying, "Don't run, you won't shoot through your friend." It's like, Pop, shoot him, I'm only man, let's do it, let's shoot through, it's fun, do it fun. Say, I'm gonna fucking do it, I'm fucking do it fun. Then Pop, that's our boy, you're the hero, let him to do it. I can do it, man, I'm gonna do it. I thought he was gonna very precisely aim this fucking annihilation ray to just take out his head, but no.
I think he's basically doing the Vern thing of casting Medrora, which is already 2 spells cast at the same time. Casting that and Zoom at the same time, so he's technically casting 3 spells at the same time. Yeah.
Didn't figure on Miss Fern just backhanding that spell right into you though.
Oh, I didn't know you could deflect that. Oh no.
Never mentioned this. This is why DJ doesn't talk.
Yes.
Talk as much anyway.
And Prof and Brakida are disintegrated. They're dead. Never going to see them again. How could they possibly?
They got hit by the spell. It cut a big hole through Vern Palace, and they're not around anymore. I don't see them. Can you see them? I don't see them. They're probably dead.
Next episode preview, so they must be dead. I did check that. I was like, are they gonna? Because I've known some shows.
Are they gonna fucking fuck it up? Yeah,
just immediately show you them live next episode.
I got wondering what they got. They burned through a lot of their fun things. Avon didn't die because he had this thing on him. Fucking Leona didn't die because we had Gomez-chan to hold everything off. So we're out of our one-off like special items in the inventory. Let's like chug a bunch of elixirs just before the Medrora hit. To be, I don't know.
But
I mean,
yes.
Pop's come back from the dead once before, so I don't see why he couldn't do it.
Yeah, but he had a corpse then.
That's true. They had a corpse.
Well, this would be his biggest challenge yet.
Yes, they've erased the code. Oh, I'm getting that weird noise again. I have no idea where it comes from. Oh, Ghost. It's gone. It's gone. It's definitely there on the WoW form. Righty-ho. Where were we? Oh, I remember. Detective Conan is where we are. It's back with another episode, and it is called. What's it called on the actual thing? It's the Spark that fell on the ranch, part 1. Yeah. In which this may be the world records for a Yumi from entering the episode and being chloroformed.
It's also a record for like well, maybe not. I don't know Conan. Like maybe there's a Conan that opens on a shot of a dead body, but it does open on a guy who's like, hey Zero, you gotta come fucking rescue me. I'm in a basement with a body. Says sorry, it's not Amaro is what he's calling him, obviously.
Yes.
His
yes,
subordinate.
it's confusing because it's Yuya Kazami, another member of the Public Security Bureau, who is trapped in a basement with a corpse, asking Amaru, aka Ray, aka Zero, to
AKA your boyfriend from Netflix.
Yes, to come and rescue him. So he has to get on a bus. Also on this bus, Conan.
He comes to rescue him on the bus. That's the most fucking lazy. I mean, like, I guess you're trying not to draw attention to it, but there's a lot of suspicious people on this bus, and a bunch of children
He's
on this bus.
He's just a simple waiter. He can't afford a car. He's got to take the bus to the countryside. Yes, Conan's on the bus. I's on the bus. The detective boys are on the bus. Their teacher, Sumiko Kobayashi, is on the bus. Their other teacher and possible second in command of the Black Organization, Rumi Wakasa, is also on the bus, as are 3 potential murderers.
Named and aged men.
Yes. Middle-aged men who are on the bus for suspicious reasons, one of which gets super angry at Mitsuhiko when Mitsuhiko takes video of the video that he's got on his phone.
In fairness to him, if you're leaning over someone's shoulder on the bus and recording what they're looking at on their phone with your phone, that's a real dick move. But do not wrestle a child.
Yes, I was going to say,
that's not cool.
Have a word with the adult who's supervising the child. Not.
Yes, exactly.
Anyway, yes, he's the most aggressive one. The other 2 seem chill. But
they don't like each other. One guy's like, I'm here for the money, and it's like, I'm here for the research. It's like, yeah, but you're gonna sell the research, ain't you?
Yeah. So they're going up to see Hatayama at Hatayama's ranch. Sumiko is also going to Hatayama's ranch in order to pet some chickens, so she's not afraid of birds.
Yeah, the reason, like, the teachers are picking up new chickens for the school.
Yeah.
I guess school chickens or something. Because as Conan says, it's like, yeah, that old one was on the way out. It's been there since I was a kid. And it's like, dude, you're a kid now. What the fuck are you talking about? It's like, shut up. But she's afraid of chickens, which is why she's brought a bunch of children to help her get used to petting chickens.
Ever since she saw her vulture as a child, she's been afraid of birds.
And it's like, but isn't your boyfriend named after like a bird? And it's like, no, that's just the name. It's like if you had someone named Kuro, you wouldn't think they were like a crow type person. It's like, I would think they were an evil organizer of a sinister fucking thing that was manipulative and shit. And Conan's sitting at the back of the bus going like, this sounds like something a second in command of an evil organization would assume.
Yes. Of course, Sumiko Kobayashi's boyfriend is another detective.
Obviously.
Shiratori, who's he's the detective who looks like the detective from he's in Giant Robo, the OVA, but he's from Tetsujin number 28.
I know the guy, but I can't
remember the character's name. But he looks like him. He's the one of the detectives who looks like him. So Rubu Wakasa is voiced by God, what's the name? Fumi Hirano, Lum, because that's the gag. Another more gag casting, and also just gets to cast all your favourite voice actors because you're a big popular manga artist.
Win-win.
Yeah, and she behaves suspiciously throughout the episode. It's very much similar to the episode where they took the other suspect out for a countryside trip, and he acted.
He was really fucking creepy, but she's being like unnecessarily stupid, like pretending to be stupid in very obvious ways, but it's mostly around children, so it's not going to get caught.
Anyway, one of the chickens escapes. Ayumi chases after it. She finds an area where there's some stuff wrapped around trees, and then gets chloroformed and put in a bag.
Well, all the chickens escaped because there's a hole that appears to have exploded out of the chicken coop.
Yes.
And like a hole that's been filled in just outside of the chicken coop.
I think anybody who's probably over 10 years old is going to assume that a meteorite has hit this area, and these guys are meteorite hunters who have come on the bus.
That does seem to be the implication, yeah.
Yes.
Because the aggressive guy went off in the woods on his own to because he has the video footage of it landing, so he's trying to use that to line up where it landed, basically. But he's just looking at tree lines and seeing if any tree lines match his fucking video, which isn't a very good way to do it. But what way does it happen? Like they split into two groups to look for the missing kid.
Yes, and they run into
And
the younger brother.
she's run into a
corpse.
guy, and it's just like, oh, I guess this is all gonna go fine, but no, it does not go fine.
Yeah, he puts her in a bag. And they're like,
Well, he shows up to the other guys before he says like, I'm the farmer's younger brother, and it's like, hey, have you seen a missing girl? We had a missing girl in our group. We haven't been able to find her. It's like, oh, you mean this one I have in my bag? Pulls her out of the bag with a knife on her. It's like, don't fuck, give me your mobile phones. Get into the basement of the farm. It's very like just chloroformed her and stuffed her in a bag like immediately. Great stuff.
Yes, it went from 0 to 60 very quickly this episode.
So there's already been a dead body. It's probably like initially it seems like it's him, but then they investigate the crime scene. It's like, no, this was a suicide.
Yeah, so
but obviously this motherfucker's up to something else.
Yeah, so it's Conan, the teacher, who isn't a black organization, possibly a black organization spy, the two public safety agents, but one of them was having to go, oh no, that's just my detective alias. He's my detective. Yes, I remember I'm training to be a private detective. This is my sidekick, who's also a detective, and that's just the cover ID that I use. That's why he's calling me. There's clues about highlighters. They get in touch with the other kids and Rumi.
Through their little CB radio badges, because obviously their phones are gone. So one kid's phone battery is out. The other kid left his phone at home, the big fat kid, and the teacher has her phone, but when she realizes that she's missing her shogi piece, she's like, oh shit. When she's reaching for her phone, it's like, where's my fucking shogi piece? Whoops, drops her phone into a bucket of water.
The shogi piece, which is evidence for a murder which happened many years ago, and is one of the key plots of Detective Conan.
They brought it up recently. It's that same shogi player because they mentioned that.
It's the brother. He's not the blood. He's not brother by blood, but he's the brother of.
He's brother by shogi. More important.
Yes, he's the middle brother's brother. His family took the middle brother in when his dad died and his mum was turned into a small child.
Yeah. Ah, dear. But yeah, this is his lucky shogi bishop piece that has a notch cut out of it. And whoever had that shogi piece would be the person who murdered him, because he always kept it on his person, but it wasn't on his body when it was found.
Yeah, so at points, so he's like, oh, is that the thing she's suspicious about? And it's just making her suspicious to be the second in command, or is that the same thing? But yes, she fumbled. Once you do that, she accidentally drops her phone in a bucket of water.
She trips and breaks open a window with her elbow when they can't open the door to the farm. She's like, well, I guess we can go in through the window now. To the small children. They're like, yeah, good idea, miss. Oh,
even though one of the small children is a 18, 19-year-old woman and also incredible scientist.
So. Yeah. It's funny that she's basically trying to hide from Amuro the entire time, like by holding her baseball cap down in front of her face suspiciously on a bus. But I guess it could just be a kid who thinks that guy is cute. Who knows?
Yeah. Something about dirt being filled into a hole. We don't know what the things are around the trees.
Your man was there because a bunch of explosives had been robbed. The other detective, he was initially kidnapped because, and the little girl seeing is like, did he wrap a bunch of dynamite sticks around trees?
Is they going to fake a meteor? Is somebody trying to fake a meteorite hit or a big
because
I'm wondering. He's going to
the initial thing was like, who's letting off?
They'll flatten when he sets the charge.
Yeah, like blown apart from a radius or something like that. Because one of the things with the guy with the video footage of the meteor coming down is you can hear in the footage. The kid says you can hear in the footage like someone saying is like, who's letting off rockets in the middle of woods or something like that.
Yeah, I wonder if either the dead brother or the younger brother or both of them together were doing something else which inadvertently looked like a meteorite has struck, and therefore to cover it up, they're trying to create a fake
Fake a
meteorite.
meteorite landing.
Yeah. That could be it. But I don't know why the highlighters will come into this.
Yeah, he has highlighter marks on his hands, which you can see like the different colors of highlighters, except he's missing the yellow highlighter from his little pen holder in his pocket. And I was just like, how is that a fucking necessary clue? But it is the clue given at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
So I have no idea how that's important. Yeah.
Yeah. The preview suggests the magnets are also involved. But yeah, it was a nice episode to go along with the previous episode where we had a suspect of being rum. I guess, does that mean they have to then go into the countryside with the cop with one eye in order to have everybody to be under equal suspicion?
I mean, like, yeah,
Or has that?
the
Or,
cop with one eye to show up.
That may have already happened.
That might have done, because I mean, like, it'd be easy enough for him to show up at a murder in order to,
Yes.
or a different crime in order to investigate it, and that's why he's there acting suspicious.
Yeah.
Whereas you got to come up with a very different reason for the teacher or a fishmonger to show up and fucking and do this thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, pulling Ayumi out of the bag there, I think that was the most bizarre image of the episode. This girl?
It was pretty great. Oh, missing girl. You mean like the one in my backpack? Just amazing stuff. Yeah, and it really, like, it sold him as a villain instantaneously. It's really good stuff.
Yes, but apparently not a murderer, so we don't know what villainy he's actually up to, which also makes a difference to it.
Because it's the kind of thing of like, oh, this guy hung himself because there's no struggle on the thing and his hands were not bound and his shoes were left over here. Whereas if you took off his shoes when you put him into bed as a corpse, you would have left his shoes beside the bed. And also there's shoe marks on the chair off which he jumped to hang himself, which means his brother must have come up there and cut him down. And it was just like, why did you have to go very thing? No, this guy killed himself, but we don't know why.
Yes, I think that's because it's like, because you have you're there to leap to the conclusion that it's a murder, because they've done other ones.
Yeah.
There's an episode where it's a suicide which has been made to look like a murder, whereas this just appears to just be a straight suicide, but there's something else, there's something other criminal going on.
Yeah, definitely.
Isn't unclear yet.
Like the little girl's traumatized from being chloroformed and stuffed in a backpack, but like those other kids are just fine with just like, oh, corpse. I guess we have to solve this crime. They've seen too many bodies at this stage.
Yeah, they haven't seen this. They're dead inside. No. They're still poking around in the office, aren't they? So.
Yeah. Okay.
Then finally we've got Shine On Bakumatsu Bad Boys. Show them the pride of a monk and a doctor. I think this was my favourite episode so far, mainly because it focused on these two characters.
These two, I think these two are the. Oh, I really like these two. And also like sunglasses and the big lad as well.
Yes. They're the most fun, but these guys I could see doing a spin-off where they go around solving crimes.
Yeah, different. The boy was like you're the doctor and I'm the monk. If we lose somebody, I'm right there to think. But we get like a lot more of the background fun saying, oh, dude, we're eccentric, but they're actually there doing that for like very personal and very benevolent reasons.
Yeah, it feels like they're criminals because they've been born in the wrong time, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the doctor was exhuming and taking apart corpses in order to better his craft of medicine, not just like evil curiosity. It's just like, no, I need to. There's a new. He talks about what's the new at the time science he brings up.
There was like he's referring like a thing like what wasn't actually that new, was like
it's new to Japan.
The TOEFL anatomy. No, this is like this is in the mid 1800s, but this has been the text he mentions has been around since mid 1770s or something like that.
But he's reading that because it's an illuminating text for him. Where just like there's so much more about medicine that we can learn, and I was trying to learn that, and obviously I got done up for it. Whereas your monk is basically done up for actually being a different religion than you think he is.
Well, I don't know if he even is that religion though. I think he might.
But he does support it.
Yes, I think he's he's omniversal in his support of
religion. Grief and use universal. Like you don't know that.
Yeah. Like he supports faith. He recognizes a woman at a funeral is is praying in a Christian way rather
This
than
way,
in a
not
Buddhist
that
way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And basically he got done up for basically like doing services in Christian services in Japan, whereas it's like that's illegal. And he's like, but that's the kind of doctor, and I appreciate the conversation he's having with the doctor, where the doctor doesn't believe in a soul or anything, but it's just like, well, I mean, like there is the thing where a body weighs less after you died, so I mean that could be the weight of the soul, and he's willing to believe that there's magic swords around the place. He's willing to believe evidence in front of him.
But it all ties in to the villain's scheme, is that they're making power stations out of human souls.
Yeah.
Because there was the old man who, well, the older man anyway, who got possessed by a sword in episode 1, but they saved him, and now like he just dies of unexplained causes. As I say, and say, what the fuck happened to you? He was fucking no clear illnesses, no fun blood pressure, normal pulse, everything like that, and it just gets so good and so. What I'm saying, losing a patient is like like the greatest grief a doctor can experience. So it's want to know why did it happen?
Yeah, exactly. So like they have like, and the doctor doesn't shoot him down entirely for believing in higher powers and stuff. He's just like, no, I just need to believe empirical evidence and stuff. And the monk isn't shooting him down for not believing him initially. They feel like really well-rounded characters who can get on despite differing beliefs.
Exactly, yeah. It's like when someone saying like, it goes on about it, like, no, well, like there's this whole thing, like the weight of the soul, like the whole thing is that. So maybe like something like that can drive a human body. So maybe that little bit of weight of the soul, can like animate a human body. It's quite something like like electricity, like it was put into like gadget for. So
yeah, and to say that such a small weight can power an entire human body, it's like, imagine it as a power source. That kind of, and it's like, yeah, we're literally you're figuring it out without putting it all together yet. Yeah.
But I don't know. It's kind of really good dynamic, and it's kind of cool that the ones kind of driving the action, because they get the lead, because like the staff starts shaking, it's going close to this like is it a shop or a warehouse?
It's like there's a particular family group that
Shirakawa, that's like from the Shirakawa room.
It's like, yeah, and they can't investigate it without good reason, even though everyone is like, come on, let's fucking go.
Need probable cause.
Listen, they're friends with the mayor, so we gotta have good reason to fucking bust up these guys. Yeah.
So they all individually kind of go around, to kind of follow their leads. Akira goes to fucking the fake geisha again for a little meeting under the bridge, and says everyone saying, different like the Shirakawa have been involved in a kind of shady deals. They've been like making a killing, raising the price of kerosene, which probably keep that in mind for somewhere down the line. But has to like once in passes by, get that act natural. So like on top of each other, saying, all the wags going by, going right out in the middle of the day under the bridge. I see. I know that feeling.
Yeah. They're still playing up the two different kinds of people in disguise, and one of them's literally a fucking spy. Kind of, they're definitely playing that romantic angle. Yeah.
Ichiban Boshi is all like just torn apart, because it's obviously my brother Sukido, but he's now fucking this weird ninja dude now. He's evil, and Sake-pun said, yeah, he's definitely evil. I fought him, that one. He's killed people, but that big sword of his before. He's no, if he's your brother, he's the right bastard. Fun. No, he's my little brother. No, he wouldn't do such a thing. No, he's probably a bastard, man. No fun. And you're gonna fucking like follow order, because if you don't kill him, I'm gonna kill him. If you get in the way, I'm gonna kill you too.
Yeah, and they do have their boss man kind of listening on that and being like, yeah, we can't have him be a liability. We do need to kill this guy.
Yeah. But Ichiban Boshi, you're too close to this one. You're off this case. But it's like, well, I'm off this case. No, you're off this case. You're not going on this raid tomorrow night. You're too much of a hot here. Too close to this action. It's too personal for you. Gotta stay behind. You're off your case, Chief.
Yeah. But then we see Rashimaru and the guy who originally attacked them when they were younger. And he's the one taking the blame for this. But Rashimaru is like, oh, no, it's fine. It's fine.
It's funny the way he's like, oh, I'm so sorry you have to do this. And he's smiling the whole time, sitting on a giant evil hand.
Yes, it also has like a robotic voice now as well.
Getting that hand share like a century early.
Some of them do have, the guys wearing the masks, I think the ones who show up in this episode do have like a voice filter going through their wooden mask, which is It's a cool effect, but I'm guessing it's like how your level of corruption by whatever the hell this thing is. Yeah.
Yeah. It seems to be human souls for power, as they surmise from.
Yeah, because the evil
Mm.
swords are getting shared around. They've I've experimented on them. They're just made out of simple copper, which is a great conductor, as we know.
Yes. Yeah. So it's not so much that the swords are particularly fancy. It's just that they are there to conduct the power of human souls for nefarious purposes.
And depending on how how burning your soul is, because such a dive right out of you if you aren't careful with it. But that'd be like the contrast then. All those like swords that we see like the Shinsengumi commanders like spirits that do the exact same thing. So you're no different.
Oh, is it this episode as well? The younger brother, like he says, like I stabbed mother in the heart, basically.
I killed our parents. It was me. Yes. Or
like
my dad was already dead by that time, but yeah, I killed mother. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the idea that he said that, but the way he said it was like kind of like I feel like there's another context to that we're missing out on.
I would have it's the sword talking, not him.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because that's the sword that the guy who attacked them was using at the time.
Yeah, you gave me this name and you gave me this sword. So yeah, probably.
And also we see why that Ichiban Boshi doesn't believe that it's his brother, because we get the flashbacks of like how his parents were talking about, like, the little brother's tougher because he doesn't feel like he has to fire off and fight back or get into needless fights like you do.
He's stronger because he doesn't
yes.
Yeah, he doesn't feel the need to retaliate.
Yes,
like he basically takes it in stride.
It's like very much the opposite of how he's behaving now, which is why he's like,
exactly,
something's wrong here. He wouldn't flip he wouldn't flip 180.
He wouldn't be the aggressor in any case. Yeah.
Unless something untoward has happened to him. But I think some of the members of these Bakumatsu bad boys are not for thinking, aren't they? Also, they've got their own issues with their own dad. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Saki's like, oh, I easily killed my dad because he was a piece of shit. So why can't you easily kill your brother because he's a piece of shit?
And then your man not trusting him was like, you killed your father. I'd never trust someone who'd kill their father. It's like, why are you trusting your brother over me then? My dad was an asshole.
Yeah. We're partners. What do you like it or not? We gotta get this case solved.
But I mean, it's not necessarily the best written thing, but in terms of an efficiently written thing, it's very well done.
It feels very solid. Again, like I said, like last week, it was a bit more substantial than this sort of thing feels like. We're trying to set a bunch of character designs to the extent that to the character designs, a little bit of soft tourism for the Kyoto city again. Got a cute little cartoon at the end where they're all chibi like that. It's trying to set the character designs, but it's got a bit more substance to it. They have devoted some thought to it. It should also be an entertaining and engaging piece of media in its own right as well.
Yeah. Like it's no Back Arrow in its complete batshit crazy, but it does everything it does efficiently and just like very, very relaxed, kind of easily.
It feels like it knows what point to reveal things. Like having these pairs of characters makes it
branch off.
It helps you break up your cast really nicely. Yeah.
Because while they're all doing their things, and the last one was mostly about fucking sunglasses and the big dude. And we'll probably get a bit more about them. It's like things like we'll just like go and talk to the street urchins again. But again, like particularly with a big lad, no fun. Again, they're getting more recruits as well. So he's like doing up all their applications. So he's like one elegant calligraphy fun. Why is he? What's his whole thing with that? Because that's not the kind of person who's supposed to be good at that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, like we could guess any number of things that the glasses dude has done as crimes in order to get executed. But what exactly is being a big doofus and good at calligraphy? Why were you up for being executed?
Why were you about to be killed? Yeah. No, he's probably like fucking too many angry letters to the Shogun.
Too many very
eloquent, but he's really funky. He was the Oscar Wilde of his day. He was just like writing all these screeds, slating everybody. It's fun. Oh, but it's so witty though, you know, fun.
He's not wrong about any of the
It's not
letters.
wrong.
No.
It's not wrong, but I gotta put him away or something. He's a bad government and tax evasion. That's what they got Capone.
And that's it though for this week. I'm now going to check to see if anything else is starting next week. It is the week ending the 13th. Let me scroll across on my spreadsheet. No, we're good. That's it. Nothing.
Oh,
I
thank
think
goodness.
Fuuto PI was the only outlier until September when the whole thing was
Yes.
out the fucking window again.
Yeah. I don't mind it so much now because obviously Spriggan has is it one more episode than Spriggan?
One more
Yeah,
of this
one
one.
for
There's
Yeah.
a little bit left in Bastard. Conan's just a now and again thing, so that's not a big problem. But yeah, it was a busy week, all right.
Yeah, I watched,
Felt it, yeah.
3 hours of anime instead of the normal 2.
My God, you're gone soft in your time. Oh man, I'll be almost kind of like 1-7. There's no more Spriggan after next week. But
It's been really enjoyable. Yeah.
yeah. I know it wasn't like the longest comic, but I'm hoping there's not enough there for another little batch.
I think the plan is that there's another 6 episodes. I think that's the plan.
Okay. Oh, have they separated one season into 2 mini seasons or something?
Possibly.
Again?
I don't know for sure, but I feel like I've seen people mention that.
And
Okay.
They had the idea for this one. What do it on OVA style, which I'm all for. I look how it's like throwing back to a comic from of that time to like a media format of that time.
Yeah.
It's just so kind of different from different by fucking kind of novelty from but distance now of everything else we're kind of going through the rest of the week. And also there's something I'm looking forward to because I've always had a real draw for this the setting and the story in itself. So to see it kind of done in just so you want to have enough on the biggest, most lavish thing production in your mind. But you're not always going to get that. But what is there is perfectly like suitable for what it is. I think it gets it right. It gets everything, all the best part to get right. Yeah.
There are 11 volumes in the original comic.
Okay. That's definitely enough to adapt. Yeah.
I mean, we're getting a clone Hitler in that. You can't not animate that.
Oh dear.
And that means when I eventually do that kind of like panel about this kind of storytelling, I will have at least 2 clone Hitlers under my belt to fall back on. So this is a theme that comes up in this, not just in anime and manga things and other things, but you're seeing it here. Yeah.
Yeah, we've not met T Flat yet, the British Arkham agent. So, whose story is even more ludicrous than the guy who turns into a werewolf. Yeah, that's everything. So we'll be back next week. Goodbye. Hopefully it will be cooler then. I think it will be.
Don't do a podcast inside an hour press in this kind of weather. I'm going to crack it open and open the door as soon as the cameras stop rolling.
Righty-ho. That's it for us. Ta-ta for now.
See ya.